someone asking to go over the phone system. You can buy local phone numbers all over the world. If you guys are using CallRail or something like that, I think um, there's no like price that there's no plan on CallRail that you can have that is more expensive or cheaper than our stuff. But if I want a new number, I can just come over here. I can purchase my new number and say like it's for this like Carol's Roofing Company, and then I could go and like what services do I want for it? Do I want it to be local or toll free? What country? Do I want a word inside the number or an area code? So for instance, if I wanted like where I'm from, 937, it should go back and find a bunch of different 937 numbers all over, right? If I don't have a plan, it's $5 for the number. But then we have plans where it's like, a bunch of numbers are included. And so that's kind of like the purchasing works. For the texting piece, which is used in our automations. There's a rule from the United States and Canadian government. You have to get some approval. So our support team has gotten really good at getting those approvals, so they can help you out with that. Um, you
On
can
the pricing, Patrick, Kyle's asking, is it a one-time $5 fee?
No, it's monthly because we get charged monthly. I'm going to go through that pricing too because I know we just changed our pricing quite a bit. So we now have plans that are just for like the Google My Business and Heat Map, right? So there's enterprise plans, but to get started, we've switched to credit systems. So each grid point on the heat map is now like a credit, because what we found is some of our competitors were using these grid points, and like even though we provided more credits, like it wasn't apples to apples. So we switched over to this. It also like kind of pairs with the workload that we do, which gives you guys more flexibility. So, you know, now we have these plans that are just the heat map and the Google My Business part of it, because, maybe other people are using other systems. So we've made it easier for people with like that really like these features. We've got the CRM plans down here, which include heat maps. And then we have the phone tracking plans down here too. So you'll see like for 15 local phone numbers, you get 100 text message and 250 local minutes. That's $49 a month. And then it's like a penny and a half for additional tax, or I'm sorry, is that 15 cents? And then 5 cents, I guess, for extra minutes. And then the numbers decrease as you go up, right? And then there's different pricing for different countries. So we're basically paying on a monthly basis. We don't own the phone number. You guys own it if you buy it, but our service charges us for it on a monthly basis. So we're passing on those costs to you guys. That's why there's a monthly associated with each number. It's going to be the same, I think, everywhere you go. Um, so like circling back to like how this stuff works, once you have a number, you can do some pretty complex stuff with it. You can make your call flows, is what we call them. So let's say I want to record calls as they come in. Well, I can do that, and I can play a greeting message. So I'll put this MP3 here, play this MP3. So when someone calls, it's going to play that. And then what do I want to do next? So maybe this says like this call will be recorded for quality assurance. Or what we do sometimes in our agency too is like we will not use this greeting. We will put a menu in place, and that menu will be like um again, it will be an MP3 message, but it will say, hey, we've been getting a lot of spam from people. So just to prove that you're human, and I would say, hey, this is like Patrick with Patrick's Roofing Company. We've been getting a ton of spam. So just to prove you're human, just press one and we'll transfer you to someone on our team, and they'll be happy to help you out. And that can help weed out some of the robocallers and that type of stuff. But we're working on some like AI stuff around this so that like we can weed this stuff out before. Um, but I could say like press one. If I press one, I could put in additional, maybe this is sales. If we're in a different scenario, if I want to say press one for sales or press two for support. We have a tow truck company, and we do like heavy duty towing or like standard towing, right? And on my message, so I like standard towing, and it will follow this line down over to the rest of the call flow where I could like, hey, I want to, let me just delete that step. So I'm going to set my recording here. And if the user presses one, I can route them off in a different direction. right? I could take them into a dial step where maybe I want to dial three people at the same time. And this could go to a browser phone where they can actually answer inside the browser. And I would just need to select a user and it would ring inside their browser, right? Or I could have it go to maybe a like client for somebody. So this Carol Johnson, it automatically would go to Carol, or I can put in a number, right? So it will follow this. And that's just for this like branch of this if someone presses one. And you can kind of see how dynamic this phone system can get because I could set up different options. And this works pretty similar to like if I choose a schedule and say like, okay, between these hours on weekends, between certain hours, I'm going to follow this and I want to like call this person. And then a different time I'll call this other person. Right. One of the cool things that we built in here too is like the round robin. So round robin is like, hey, I want to send like 50% of the calls to these three people, and I'll send 50% to this one person. Or if I want to use weighted distribution, I could say I'll have 80% go to these. Maybe I don't really like these three people. I'll send them 50% and I'll send 85% to this one person. So you can kind of like distribute that out pretty easily. And then you go out like voicemails and tagging. Everything is tracked in here. So if you go in and look at the calls that have come in, I don't know if we have like fake calls coming into the system. Um, so all the calls are in here. You've got all kinds of filters. You can make outgoing calls. You can text right from here, right? I can send text messages. I can use the dialer to call. I can call through the browser. Or I can have it call on my phone. So it would call my phone. And then when I pick up, I press one and it will connect. So the phone will take place on my phone, but it will be with this tracking number. So that's kind of like how that phone system works. So there's a lot more pieces to it. I'm not sure who was asking about it, but yeah, it's pretty powerful. We're putting a lot of effort into beefing this thing up with a lot of AI stuff that's coming in. So really
There,
excited. CallRail and these other platforms are they're just like phone systems where we have like an entire CRM around it. We have things like, hey, when a phone call comes in, I don't know if you guys have seen this. If you're new to the system, I could say like when a phone call comes in, maybe what I want to do is like when there is a phone call, if the phone call is maybe if from one of these companies or the call duration is greater than or equal to 30 seconds, then I can wait. Maybe I want to wait 3 minutes and send a text message, right? And then I can drag over stuff from like the client that's associated with the company of the call or even the caller information. If I wanted to send my client, maybe I want to send my client a text message that says, hey, that phone call was from us, right? And here's their info. Here's the information. So what do I want to send over? Maybe I want to send over a copy of the call recording. So I can send over a link where they can listen to that or the duration and the time of the call, right? I can drag all this stuff over and it will replace it in real time. So you've got all those options in there too. You could do this for missed calls too. You could say maybe instead you want to send a text message to the caller and you could send a text message, say, hey, sorry, we missed your call. If the call status equals missed, right? If call duration, instead of that, I'll go to like status is equal to missed. Then I could send a text message. I could wait 3 minutes and say, hey, sorry, I missed your call. What are you looking to have done? Right. So as we build out our mobile app, we're going to have this where your clients can install this, a white labeled version of this, and that two-way conversation can be opened up directly as a result of this call. So that's going to be a really, really big piece.